Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Today I bring you another wrap up. February was another good reading month. I finished 11 books, and don't ask me how I did it. I think it's just a mixture of being able to kind of do a bit of reading while I'm at work, as well as reading in my own time. It again was a little like balanced out between likes and dislikes, which, you know what, I will take it. As long as I don't have a month filled with dud books, I'm okay with that. Because I would like to have this video be less than the last wrap up, even though we are discussing the same amount of books, I'm going to try to keep my thoughts to a little bit more condensed feelings and conversations about each book. The first book I finished in February was Seatmate. This was an Audible reread. I listened to it with my mom. This one was a little bit of a slower read for me, but it's because the entire audio drama takes place during a bus ride. Well, at least the majority of it takes place in a bus ride. But it is so good. I highly recommend, if you guys have not listened to the Love Lines trilogy on Audible, definitely check it out. It's worth a listen. I have listened through to this series straight through all three books twice. I love it. Highly recommend it. The next book I finished in February was Slashes in the Snow. This was again an Audible reread, and I was kind of taking a bit of a reread binge, I guess you could say. This one I really enjoyed listening to. It is a dark romance, and I kind of like the fact that this story feels like a very short, condensed, enjoyable read. I like that there's some angst, there's some drama, obviously, that's going to happen. And this book didn't hit all the markers for me, but it does touch on some darker topics. So just be aware of those possible triggers when you go into reading this story. The next book that I read was unfortunately a dud, and that was Greta and the Goblin King by Chloe Jacobs. This book ended up I don't know if it's just that I hyped myself up for it and it just fell flat. I'm thinking it's more to do with the fact that when you think about Goblin Kings, if you grew up with a good movie selection, you watched Labyrinth with David Bowie, and nothing is ever going to equate to that level of Goblin King vibe. This one, though, I think it's more the fact that the writing, when it was written, it's early 2000s, I believe. Oh, my apologies. This is a first edition from 2012. This is, I'm going to still say it's in early 2000s. This is early 2000s writing, and I don't think the early 2000s writing has aged very well for reading this year for me. It was okay. I'm not invested enough to continue reading the rest of the series, which is quite sad, but I do know that, this spent some quality years on my shelves, and hopefully it can find a new home elsewhere and be loved for the beauty that it is. And if this is somebody else's first experience with the Goblin King, I really hope that they then experience Labyrinth. Another dud for me was my next read, which was My First Night. I read this on my Kindle, and this one's another one where the actual writing of the characters fell grossly flat for me. This one I really struggled to get through, and I'm glad that I pushed through and I gave it to the last page. Again, I'm not going to be continuing with this series, but I just found like the main lead, she didn't hold herself with confidence, and I was kind of looking for that, especially to kind of counterbalance the amount of control and possessiveness that our male lead had. Now, we didn't get any POV for the male lead, but I just felt like he was very controlling and domineering, and I really felt like the way that it was written, it came across more as a very psychologically abusive relationship. And I just was not here for it. I don't mind reading romance. I don't mind reading something that's darker. I don't mind reading something that maybe they delve into, you know, some darker topics or whatnot. But this one just didn't feel like it was handled very well, and it felt very much surface level. And I don't know if the other books in the series get better, but all I know is this one really made me question the fact that it's even in my collection. I'm glad that I read it, but I actually don't plan to keep it in my collection. It was a very uncomfortable book to get through, as I said. The next book was Shakespeare's Christmas by Charlaine Harris. This is the third book in the Lily Bard series, and this is the only other physical book I read in February. This one I struggled getting through. I think I started it last year and I was just having a hard time getting through it. It's not that the story was bad per se. I just don't feel like it held the oomph that the first two books held. And I don't know if it's maybe because we were putting our main character Lily in a very, potentially triggering situation. She was going home for her sister's wedding. I'm not spoiling you because I'm pretty positive that is in the synopsis. So you have Lily going back to a potentially triggering environment. And I don't know. It wasn't working for me with what I was used to reading in the previous two books. But I did enjoy it, and I'm now 3 of 5 books through this series, and hopefully we can finish the other 2 at some point this year. Next was another hit. I was very excited to actually talk about this one with you guys. It is called Issue to the Bride, One Navy SEAL. I loved this book. I liked the fact that it has a lot of different things that are happening within the storyline, but they're all given specific time in the story to develop and mature and marinate, and it just came together in this really lovely piece of work. And I do want to continue with this series, but I really enjoyed this one, and I'm kind of mad that it stayed on my TBR shelf for as long as it did. Another book I read on my Kindle was Bargaining with the Rake. This book took some turns I was not expecting, and I really, really liked it. I don't really have much to say. I would definitely say read if there's any triggers posted online that could potentially be unsettling for some to read. For me, I wasn't triggered by some of the stuff that was dealt with in this story, but I enjoyed it so much, and I really liked the character dynamics. I liked the verbal sparring that was happening. It was good. This book really worked, and I really was happy that I read it. Another Kindle book was The Walls Between Us, Volume 1. I'm just starting all the book series, apparently, while I'm trying to read my TBR. This one was so good! I love manga. If you guys have not figured that out yet with the videos and how much I talk about manga, I love manga. I love reading it. I love absorbing it. I can get through it like nobody's business. And it's so good. But the issue is it's also so expensive. Like, these Kindle books are the cost of what paperbacks used to cost like 5 to 10 years ago. I'm not paying $9.99 for a manga ebook. I'm gonna go broke because, trust me, I can spend a lot of money on manga ebooks because they are so absorbable. This one was so good. I really liked the childhood friends, fake relationship, potential romance. I'm not going to say anything more, but honestly, if this sounds like it's up your alley, read it. I really enjoyed it. It was so cute. The next one was another Audible reread, and that was Anarchy Found Alpha Lincoln. This is an anti-hero romance. It is a little bit of a darker read. I have read this before, but I wanted to kind of revisit it because I was hopeful to continue on with the series because it's a trilogy, but then I found out afterwards that Audible doesn't have the other 2 books right now. Like, what? Audible, what is happening with books disappearing off of your app. I don't know what's going on, but anyway. I didn't love this one as much as I thought I would. Reading it a second time, I was like, there are some things in here that I am confused. I'm uncomfortable. Is this what I think it is? So I'm not gonna state anything, but if you've read this, we should talk offline about about it, because like I got some thoughts and I don't know how I feel about this. And this is an author that I know I have friends that have like love this author, but this one just it made me slightly uncomfortable. Slightly uncomfortable. I'm not going to get into details about it, but it wasn't my favorite. We are down to the final 2 books for the month. The next one I have is Hating My New Boss. This was on my Kindle TBR. You know how like your parents say if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all? I don't even know where to go from here, because it started off as a very like contemporary why am I laughing? Oh, this makes me like okay, so this starts off as a very contemporary romance. Like super contemporary. She works in marketing. Like not weird at all. Has a new boss coming in. Not weird at all. Is an ex-friend, ex-schoolmate. Not weird at all. We don't mind these things in romances. But tell me why it then went into this weird AU where Ready Player One basically was happening in real life on a compound. I'm very like weirded out. It's weird, and it's never really like, it's just accepted. It's just accepted for what it is. But like, are we okay with it? I don't know. It didn't work for me. No. This one was so weird. I don't even know what to say. This one was very weird. It did not work for me. No, this one didn't work. But the one I read after it did, and that one is Tucker, and this one was on my Kindle as well, and this one worked. It was contemporary romance, obviously what I was kind of needing as a refresher to my reading palette after Hating My New Boss. This one was really like, it hit on some harder topics, but I really liked it. So this one, you're dealing with a fake romance, and there's also the situation of there's only one bed. And I don't know, like it was hitting a lot of things that I really, really liked to see. And I also really appreciated how the author kind of constructed the different situations that happened and came about to resolve it. And I think it was done in a very realistic point. Like for myself, if I saw that happening, or if I was in that character's shoes and that happened, I'm like, I'd respond the same way. And then like how it all kind of fit together and meshed together, I'm like, yeah, this works. This one I really, really liked. I do want to continue the series, but again, I'm being cautious of what I'm bringing in when I have so many to read already. But yes, this final read for the month of February definitely was a great, like, high point. Starting the month with a good book, ending the month with a good book with some iffy ones in between. I'll take it. It worked for me. So, I have a question for you guys. What was your dud for the month? Because I feel like I want to kind of know that more than like what your top favorite was. What was your one read that you read in February that you did not like? You're like, this didn't work for me, and why didn't it work for you? Also, for me, I'm kind of on the fence with regards to my favorite book of the month. because I did read some really good books. I really, really liked the ones that I liked, and I really didn't like the ones I did not like. Like, it was very polar opposites with my emotions. But currently, for the month of February, I have a tie. I don't know which one is which yet, so I'm going to let myself sit with it for a little while. On the one hand, I really liked The Walls Between Us Volume 1. I kind of liked how that story, like, it just flowed so well, and obviously it's manga. I got through it in, like, under an hour, I swear. The other one is Tucker. They're polar opposite reads, so it's hard to kind of pick one over the other, but I'm going to narrow it down. I just don't know yet which one is my top read for February. It's either going to be The Walls Between Us or Tucker. One of those is going to be my top read for February. I just don't know which one. I need to sit with it a little bit longer and marinate that favorite of the two. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you next time.